Hello, Drum School and Drummer friends. It's Alan here. Hope everybody's keeping well. Today we're going to be breaking down Dave Grohl's awesome drum part on that Nirvana classic, In Bloom. I've done a playthrough or a drum cover of this. It's on the channel. I'll put a link in the description. Hopefully this lesson today will help complement that. All right, let's go. All right, so let's do the first two bars of the introduction to the verse. Obviously, it repeats itself later on in the song, and then it's used as the outro. Here we go. Going to play it up to speed. The whole song goes 154 BPM, which is about that. 2, 3, 4. All right, so the first bar of that's a quarter note groove. 1, 2, and 3, 4. All right, 1, 2, and 3, 4. Actually starts with a crash, doesn't it? 1, 2. And then the second bar, those fabulous flams, comes in on the and of 1. So if you're trying to count it, sometimes it gets a bit hard. What I do sometimes is I'll sniff on the wrist like that. And that keeps me right. All right, so it's 1 and 2 and. All right, so got to play the bass drum as well. Hand and foot coordination needed here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And I'm always playing right hand flams. All right, keep your left stick low and your right stick high. 1. Put it all together slowly. All right, second part of the introduction, we've got 8 bars to play in total. The first one, we're going to play a crotchet or a quarter note along with the crash. The second one, we move on to those 2 quavers that follow the hi-hat. We're going to keep the hi-hat like that. All right, and let's go. Play it up to speed. Okay, and as I say, there's 8 bars. In total, 7 of those. I got the quavers. You can see that on your screen. Thing is, that's the tempo. So where we're playing the snare drum, we're playing it on beat 3. So it actually has a kind of a halftime feel to it. If you want to get into halftime, a lot of drummers think that the only time that you use the phrase halftime is in relation to a shuffle, halftime shuffle, Purdy shuffle, Toto's Rosanna, or Full in the Rain. But actually, halftime is a musical mechanism. You're just shifting the emphasis of the beat from 2 and 4 to 3. And this track uses that. So I do have a lesson on the channel to do a halftime. You might want to check that out as well. Okay, so that's our 8 bars. We've got 4, the first 2 bars, and then we've got, we've got 8. The 2 bar phrase is repeated. So 8 bars in total, and then another 8. And then we're into the verse. All right, so we're still powering through, but whenever we get to the verse, this is what happens. All right, so what happens in the verse? Close the hi-hat. I'm going to play it tight like that. Here we go. Just remember, if that's your crotchet beat, your quavers are going to be counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Just like that. All right, so we're doing, I think it's 8 bars, and then there is actually a very simple little fill, classic little. 1 and 3, 4 and 1. Back into the groove, and then there's another crash later on after another couple of bars, and then we're into the fast, furious semi-quaver 16th note fill on the snare drum. All right, let's play that semi-quaver fill into the chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4. Great thing about working on a bar like this is it brings you back to basics. holding your sticks. Yeah, you got to control them, but don't hold them like hammers. And you might need to work up to this. So nothing wrong with that. Plenty of practice to do that. So semi-quavers, 1 yada, 2 yada, 3 yada, 4 yada. I mean, that's hard to say. So, think about your technique. Pinch, stick, cradle, turn, get your hands match grip. Or if you're playing orthodox, it's fine. But, we've got to think about our technique before trying to play that. And to play it in this style, which is giving it some oomph. All right? So, start slow and then work up to it. 1 minute. And then work up to it. 1, 2, 3. All right, and that fill brings us into the chorus. Let's play the groove in the chorus. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 3, and 1, and 3, and. All right, so we've got 8 of those. It brings us into this essentially 2-bar phrase. With the first bar, we've got a little stab in the end of 4 that leads us into these fabulous triplet fills. The first one is around the toms, and the second one is on the snare drum. So again, up to speed. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so the count is 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and like that. And then we're into our triplet fill. Starts on the and of 1 on the bass drum. All right, and of 1 going into 2, 2. And the way I'm playing it, my sticking pattern is going to play the left hand on the snare drum and then play the next note of the triplet partial. Okay, it's a part of it. It's not a whole triplet, 8th note triplet. It's a partial triplet. So we're playing 1 and 2 and then the next note's on the left, because then that leads nicely into playing right-handed round the kit. So just like that. Let's do the 2 bars slowly. And I'm actually using the same sticking pattern whenever we do it on the snare drum. All right, so just to recap, powerful song, incredible drumming by Dave Grohl, but relatively straightforward structure. What I've done today is just covered the elements of the song, so you'll know the song, and you'll be able to listen to that. No, right, okay, we're doing that in the verse, the chorus, doing those fills here, doing that there, etc. All right, so you can take those key elements as you work your way through the song, and I really hope that it helps you with your performance. Don't forget that there's my playthrough on the channel. Put a link in the description. If you enjoyed that today, if you found it helpful, I'd be grateful for a thumbs up. I'd be grateful if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. There is a Buy Me a Coffee link as well for other lessons available to channel members only, and I'd be grateful if you consider joining that. Until the next time, bye. Hello drummers, it's Alan here, and welcome to the Belfast Drum Channel.